at the Danes Hall. I think most of you know who I am, but my name is Jane Nash, and I'm with the Greater Waupaca Area Parks and Trails. And along with Kari Espenson, who's with the Oz Natural Area and Biodiversity Education Center, we are organizing these presentations and appreciate suggestions for future ones. We want to thank Mike Kohler for his invitation to do this. Tonight, we're lucky to have 3 of our own Waupaca High School graduates who are going to give us their perspective on climate change. They are Sophie Budkiewicz, a 2018 graduate, Maxwell Johnson, who graduated in 2016, and Grace Cook, a 2017 graduate. They will do their own introductions and I'm sure provide us with some educated insights from their points of view. Remember, this is the first time they are doing a panel like this on their own, so we want to give them a little slack and a lot of patience. They are our future leaders, so let's welcome their voices. I know they will do a great job.
Hi everyone, my name is Sophie Budkiewicz. I've lived in Waupaca my whole life, grew up just down the street on Lake Street. And basically, what really started to get me involved with climate change advocacy and really an interest in environmental studies was my home life. My parents were really instrumental in teaching me all about native ecosystems. I spent a lot of my childhood playing on our farm, in the woods, and really developed a strong foundation that way, which has led me to pursue a number of different opportunities in my later years. But I went to conservative school my junior year of high school, which is an environmentally focused semester school in northern Wisconsin, where I was surrounded by young people from all across the country interested in environmental studies, and that was really crucial. And then later on, I started my university education at University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire, and now, starting tomorrow, University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point, where I am double majoring in biology and Spanish. And so events like this are really important to me, and I hope that I can help you learn some new facts tonight. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Hi guys, my name is Grace. I am 21 and I go to the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse. I'm a junior and I major in biology and my minor is environmental studies. I also grew up in Waupaca. That's my little horse farm. I've got 6 horses, 5, 6 horses now. It varies. Some dogs. I was on the dance team. If anyone knows the dance team, pretty big deal. And then I work at the paddle shop in the summer, renting paddleboards, so maybe someone's rented a paddleboard from me before. So last spring semester, I studied abroad in Scotland, and that is kind of where my whole climate change kick started. I took a class called Global Environmental Issues, and it's very educational, and here I am today. So, yeah, and also definitely a beginner, so just make it easy.
Hi, my name is Maxwell Johnson. I was born not in Wisconsin, but Wisconsin is my home. I grew up in rural Wisconsin, so there's my little house from a very long time ago. I graduated in 2016 from Waupaca High, and I went to Colorado right after that for a little graduation trip with my mom. And that trip sort of made me a lot more connected with the world and sort of appreciating it for more environmental focus. And then I went to college to study physics, and physics is very, very hard. And calculus is too. So I knew I wanted to do something environmentally focused, and I wanted to design solar panels or do something with installations. So I wanted to get my degree in that way, and like I said, physics is hard, so I actually dropped that, but I kept the environmental focus. And I went into philosophy and politics, specifically political science with an environmental emphasis, and then environmental ethics emphasis in my philosophy major. So I've taken Poly 304 and 305, which are environmental policy in the United States, and then 305 was climate change policy, which is the majority of my information, sort of taken from my really good professor, Brad Makes Martin. A lot of the information I got was from those classes and some independent research, but that's mostly about me. You'll see more stuff later on. So, our first question we have is, why did you come here tonight? And if anybody wants to answer right off the bat, you can just raise your hand and I will walk the mic to you. I kind of want to break down the I'm the speaker, you're the audience kind of thing. So if anybody has a reason why they came and they want to share that with us. Okay. Mark.
The reason I came tonight is that there has been like an ecological movement since I would say like the late 60s, early 70s. Not much has been accomplished. And as we age, as parents and our senior citizens, we know that the next generation has to carry the torch. And when I saw 3 young people from Waupaca that were involved, I thought it would be good to come and see what you guys had planned for your future.
Wow, thank you. Anybody else? Anybody else? Thank you, Mark. So I want to preface this that, like Jane said, we are just beginners. I'm only 21, and no one person can understand climate change. So somebody might know a heck of a lot about the ocean. Somebody might know a lot about atmospheric something or another. Obviously, I don't. But I know a little bit about policy, and that's where I can sort of put my focus. And some of us know more about ecological transformations, but no one person can ever know the whole thing. It's such a complex math problem that it's unattainable by any one individual. And we want to just establish a positive learning environment. So in the future, if anybody has a question at any point, you can raise your hand, but be sure to mostly hold your questions to the end. We'll have a little discussion part and we'll walk around and hand the mic up and whatnot.
Okay, so we thought it would be good to start off with some general information about climate change, just in case there's some other beginners in here. So greenhouse gases, there's more than just carbon dioxide, which is the big one. But you've got, it's any gas that absorbs heat energy, so even water, so water vapor, CH4 is methane, O3, so the whole ozone layer, ozone is a greenhouse gas. CFC, some of you probably might remember that, fluorocarbons, and nitrous oxide. So those all are gases that absorb heat in the atmosphere, and we'll go through that process a little later. Versus a pollutant is a substance or energy introduced into the environment that has undesired effects. So that's like when you think of air pollution, particulate matter, plastic, big one, toxic waste, leachate from landfills, gases, oil, PCBs, and DDT, lots of pollutants. And then I thought I'd mention adaptive capacity, so that's like a person or thing's ability to adapt to changes. So a human's adaptive capacity is going to be a lot quicker than the environment. So that's where some of these issues come in, is that our ecosystems can't evolve to the level that maybe we can evolve. So just keep that in mind throughout the presentation. This picture was from one of my classes this semester, and I thought I'd bring it up because we live in Wisconsin and it is freaking cold here. So as you can see, right where we live is one of the much cooler than average squares. So when we're talking about global warming, it's really global warming. It's a global average temperature. And it changes within 1 degree Celsius to 2 degrees Celsius as of right now. So you can see how most of the world is at warmer than average, much warmer than average. The oceans are near average. So that's where that global warming aspect comes in. Okay, so this is what I was talking about with the greenhouse effects. This is what greenhouse gas is, and I'm just gonna briefly So sun brings down solar energy and heat, and this goes onto the Earth's surface, so it's called the albedo of the Earth, and it reflects back. And so greenhouse gases absorb some of this heat and can reflect it back onto the Earth again. So the greenhouse effect is actually a natural cycle, and that is why we have the life we have on Earth today. But the problem is with amplified warming, when it just keeps bouncing back and isn't being radiated back out into space. Next. And the carbon cycle is pretty complex. So when we're talking about CO2, carbon, everything in life needs carbon, is made of carbon, but carbon has different sources and different sinks, and I'll go through that later on, but just looking at this graph, you can see how natural things are taking in and giving off CO2, but when we add these extra fossil fuels, it's harder for all the sinks to absorb this extra gas. So sinks like the ocean or soil. So that makes sense. And this is an awesome picture. It's about the consequences of climate change. So biodiversity loss, extreme weather, sea level rise, oceans. So people talk about positive feedback cycling, and you guys can see this. It goes through possible consequences. So we've already warmed by 0.8 degrees Celsius, and we're already seeing the effects of heat waves, oceans, ice caps melting, sea level rising, earthquakes, weather events, species extinction, and it goes on. You guys can look at this after if you want to, up to 1 degree, 2, 3. So 2 degrees is what we're really worried about. That's water supply is affected, Greenland melts, Amazon collapses, food shortages, and it just goes on to there, up to 6, where we have mass extinction.
All right, so I'm going to give a bit of an overview of the oceans in relation to, I guess, climate moderation and then their role in climate change as well. It seems like it's kind of a bit of a removed issue from us because we live in, central United States, and so we're kind of a bit far from it, but it's really important to consider. So the ocean.
Oh, sorry.
So the ocean serves both as a moderator for climate because it absorbs thermal radiation from the atmosphere and also helps to absorb carbon and carbon dioxide. It's one of those main sinks